Good morning. I'm Elle. I'm the Keystone Stitcher. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I know there's a couple new people. I've got a lot to show you today. I have 6 whips. I have 1 finish, fully finished. Decent amount of progress on everything I've worked on. So yeah, I've been working on both my focus pieces and some special pieces I pulled out just for the month of May. I'm calling this Macabre May, and so those pieces that I have fit into that theme. First, before we get into the stuff here, let me tell you, in case I forget anything, everything that I talk about is down in the description box. So if I forget fabric or fabric count or an artist, I will put them in the description box along with linking where you can find everything. So if I show you frames or I show you something I bought, the links to those will be down below. Also, everything that I do, so I don't have to repeat myself and bore you, I stitch on almost exclusively Zweigart fabric. I stitch with DMC. I rarely ever do fancy floss, and all my projects, unless the design calls for it, is stitched 2/1 full cross. Okay, so now I don't have to tell you that and keep repeating myself and bore you. The first piece is my finish. So it was the Old Sled. This is from the December 2023 issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine. When you last saw it, it was here. And I worked on it one day, and I had come up and done all but the center. So all of the top, the sides, that was all done. And then I decided to see what size frame I would want. I knew I wanted some of the fabric to show, to look like sky. So I got out my tape measure and said, okay, what feels right? And I came up 5 by 10. And I just popped this in here. It's not perfect. I'm going to stretch it and get it set. But I found a frame I fell in love with on Etsy. This is from the Rusty Roof. I will link them down below. And there's my finish. So I love that rustic look. I love how they've sanded it down. They have multiple colored frames and various sizes. And that was weird. Sorry, I heard something. And so yeah, I picked the red because I wanted to bring out the red in the design. The artwork, did I say, was by Elizabeth Spurlock. And let me bring that in. There's minimal backstitch. The slats and the pieces of the sled just have some straight backstitch. There's some backstitch around that scarf, and then the outline of the mittens, and then there's some straight stitches in the greenery. But that's the Old Sled. So yeah, I need to press it a little bit, but I finished this and I popped in the frame to see it. So that was my finish, which is why I get to have a new start. And if you saw the title, I'm going to let you pick my new start. This here is a crop of You Can Leave Your Hat On. Artwork is by Sandra Santoro. It was charted by Heaven Earth Designs. It was the mini. It wasn't well done, so I cropped it, and we were done with it. Okay, that was my finish. That has me all happy. I'm always happy when I finish something. That's my 4th finish for the year, but it's my smallest. Okay, so let's start with the pieces I stitched on for Macabre May. Sorry, my lip is itching. The first one is One for Sorrow, and it's supposed to look like this. And here it is now. So I worked down here. Pulled this out of the frame, and it's really wrinkled. Anyway, I worked down here, filling in more of this. I brought body, those dark colors down, brought in some colors here. There were a lot of missing stitches in the body that I filled in, and then I started on the wing. I thought I would start on the wing because I was tired of working in these pale colors. These are off-whites and pale blue and pale gray. And guess what? Every color that I've picked here so far is the same colors in the sky. So yeah, wasn't real happy about that, but I'm really happy I'm getting progress on this. This is now at 12.29%. And yeah, that was Macabre May for that one. So that one that's my oldest, second oldest project that I have. And my oldest one will be finished this year. A few months, I hope. So my next one I'm still working on this week for MACABRE, and that is Masquerade by Christopher Lovell. You can get this through UnconventionalXStitch. I'm doing this version with no background. I'm removing the background as I go, and here's where I am. So I have a hanging thread here, don't mind that. And here's where it was before, and I don't know, I have the same amount of stitches pretty much in both of these. I filled in some of the missing stitches here and here, but there's still a few left. I filled in some of the missing stitches in the moon and a couple of the stitches along this black border, and then all of this down here is new. So let me bring that in for you. And I'm not thrilled with the way my stitches are laying. This is a 20 count Aida. I dyed it myself, but I kind of messed up the process. So then I stuck it in the machine, in my washing machine, soaked it overnight with bleach, trying to take the color out. It was too dark. And then by the time and in hot water, I put it through 2 cycles. By the time I was done, this shrunk. So it was a 20 count, it shrunk down. And this project has more confetti than any project I've ever worked on in my life. And I've been stitching for about just over 30 years. So what I normally do is I pick the color that has the most stitches and work in the order down to the least number of stitches. Because it's really easy then normally when you have 1 stitch here or there to find it and put it in, and you don't have to count as much. But trying to squeeze those stitches in, it's not laying as nicely as I'd like. So now I'm trying something different over here. I'm taking one color that has a decent amount and filling that in, and then I'm picking all the little ninja stitches and the one with the least number and doing those, and then I'm coming back with the last color that has a lot of stitches. And that way I'm not squeezing an individual stitch in. And that seems to be working. So I don't know, you can see that's pretty messy. This is looking a little bit better down here. It's hard to tell because it's also wrinkled. But that's Masquerade. I still have to go this direction, but this is all the further this will be here. So I've hit that side. So that one I am now at exactly 6%, which that one, those were both started in 2022. So One for Sorrow was started in 2021. It was started the very last week of December. I put a little bit in, and then Masquerade was started in February. Okay, so those were my MACABRE pieces so far this year, or this month. Next, I'll show you my weekend projects, and the first one is, what is the name? Midsummer's Eve. I'm going midnight? Okay, Midsummer's Eve. I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning for whatever reason. I'm not a morning person, and my brain has just never woken up with it. Okay, so this is Midsummer's Eve. The artwork is by Jennifer Taylor. It's charted by Contemporary Cross. See if I can get my act together here for you guys. I am now at 7.08%, and I'm working on this 3rd page. So what I have left, not a lot to see. I mean, you can see there's just all blues. You can see some are lighter. All I have now on this 3rd page to fill in is one color. It's $7.99, which is another lightish blue, so right in this color family. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and finish the row, and then I'm going to start working in columns just so I can get to some of the more exciting things. I love Jennifer's artwork. I love that I just love everything about her pieces. But getting started, it takes a little while to see everything come together. But that one of my favorites, I'll get there. That one's a newer piece though. So my next one is another piece from 2022. I started this one in January. This is Grackles. It's by Omar Rayan. And that's where I am. And let's see if I can put above it where it was. Okay. So I've just been working on this page over here. So I'll show you just a close-up of that page right there. So just working on the background. And this is my largest piece. This is 270,000 stitches. This was charted by Heaven Earth Designs. It is no longer being charted by Heaven Earth Designs. Let me put this down while I just talk to you about it. Omar and his wife both had their artwork charted by Heaven Earth Designs. At some point before this last dump of artists that has something to do with the licensing thing, all of a sudden Omar and his wife's pieces disappeared from the site, which is really sad because his pieces are gorgeous. I know Amy Loves Toad stitched one of hers. I know several people have stitched the Contessa with Squid. I don't know anyone else who was stitching this particular one. But when I was on UnconventionalXStitch's site to purchase a piece I'll show you here later, it was one I started a month ago. When I purchased that, I saw that Jody at UnconventionalXStitch is charting Omar Rayan's work. I don't see his wife's work there yet, and maybe that won't happen, but she's charting his work. Now, Contessa with Squid is there. She has a mini and a full size, and the full size is not as large as the one that Heaven Earth did. So I'm going to really regret it if she gets to chart Grackles and it's a little bit more manageable in size, but oh well. So if you liked any of Omar's pieces, you can reach out to Jody, see if she has the ability to get one of the design that you like, and if she can chart that for you. Because I know I reached out to her. I reached out to her through Instagram for the one piece that I wanted, and she got right back to me. So if you liked Omar and you're bummed because he's not on Heaven and Earth, his stuff is now being charted by Unconventional. Okay, so now we'll get into my focus pieces. So even though I'm working on doing something unique for me for May, I didn't want to fall behind on my focus pieces. I have 2 pieces left that I want to finish this year. Here's the first. This is Stone Expression. The artwork is by Giuseppe Maccone. It's charted by Megan at Stitching Moon Designs. She's Stitching Moon here on Flosstube. And I have several milestones with this one. So I only worked on the top here, so let me put a picture of where it was, and you can compare the two. So milestones. I finished page 2. So page 2 is done. And by finishing page 2, I hit the midpoint of the design as far as the width goes, because it's only 4 pages across. I finished this entire girl. So her legs and feet were done. I finished her arm, finished her face. So she's done. Now that she's done and her face is done, there's no more of her body. So it's just her face peeking out. So now I have both these girls done. There's only the 2 girls. From here, this is the eyebrow. I'm going to put it above my head over here so you can follow along. So this is part of the eyebrow of the stone face. This right here, this empty space, is a leaf. And that leaf comes out of the corner of her eye. So this will be her eye. Directly below here, below the elbow, is the nose. And then the very tip of the nose is going to come pretty much equal with her eyes. And then over here, you know, we'll come in and get the other eye, the stone eye. So yeah, I'm coming into a lot of really interesting things. But for right now, I'm going to continue to go across, and I'll be working more on the forehead of the stone figure, more of this dark, which is like hair, and then the greenery from the forest, the background. So yeah, that's where that is. So I am currently at, let me see my notes here, 24.1%. This is on a 20 count even weave. And you can see if I bring this in closer, I'm not having a problem with the lines like I did on One for Sorrow. So One for Sorrow was the very first time I ever tried to stitch on even weave. I've learned a lot and I'm getting better. But I'm also, you can see, not stitching in a lot of columns. I do with these black, you can see here I kind of filled in, so I'm kind of working column wise, but I'm still not getting column lines. These grays here, a lot of those colors were in her eyes, and so because I had it on my needle, I came up and started filling that in. And I will continue with that. So this here is the end of the third page. And then I'll have one more page and I can have a row done. So I would really love it if next time I saw you, I could show you that page completed. Okay, my other focus piece I'll put above my head here is Four Seasons by Dome. As far as I'm aware, this you cannot buy anywhere, or at least through the States. There's a place that you could buy it, but it says it's not available in my country. I believe it's from India. And I am here. Let me back this up. There we go. So I'll bring it in closer in a minute, but I finished this building. I finished everything in this part of the building, and I finally hit green. So, I mean, I have other trees in here, but you can see they were brown. Browns, you got browns and reds. You have golds up here for the autumn. I finally hit green. So that was fun, just seeing that pop out. I didn't want to put it down. Once I pick up a new color like that, it's like, oh, let me go. Let me keep going with this. So I'm going to bring this section in closer and show you the before. And sorry, I don't have a really good picture. I didn't realize I would get as far as I did. And so my first picture was of the buildings in my hoop. And yeah, so this is from my last video. So there we go. And this one is now at 48.64%. And this is my oldest piece. I started this in 2019. So yeah, so that's what I did there. Now my plans. Moving forward, I'm going to continue with Stone Expression and Four Seasons. And they'll be worked on every Monday through Friday. I'm alternating weeks because there's such different designs with, with this one, with Stone Expression. You can see this is the background over here, is like 939, 3371. So 939 is a dark navy blue, 3371 is a dark brown. Then there's 934, which is a really dark green, and 936 for these leaves, and 310. And then the stone is grays, different shades of gray. There's some black, there's 413, there's 318, 317, so all those grays. So going from this, working on this for a week, and then going to Four Seasons and having the brighter, lighter colors, it helps keep things going. And of course, between the two pieces, I still have 71,000 stitches on Stone Expression, and I have 40-some thousand, I can't find my notes, 47,000 on Four Seasons. So if I were to work on, say, Stone Expression until I've completed 71,000 stitches, that's going to be a lot of weeks. That would take a while. So yeah, alternating them. They'll still be done this year, but I can mix up the colors. I'm just repeating myself. Am I making sense? Sorry, guys. Okay, so that's my plan there. I'm going to work on the focus pieces. And then I'm going to, where's my time? Okay, so then I've got May. Hold on, let me pause and grab my May stuff and set up. Okay, I have my May pieces now. So my Macabre pieces, as I said, I'm going to continue working this week on Masquerade and see how far I can get on that. And then next week, I'm pulling out Eyes of the Forest, which will look like this. This is, I don't know if it's Inna or Inna Bandenko, and it's from mybobbin.com. This is a full coverage piece I'm doing with Carrie the Patient Stitcher. And here's where I am. It's really hard to see that from a distance. So I'm currently at 2.49%. And this right here will be the start of an eye. There'll be another eye here. The beak comes down here. So you can kind of compare where I am. This is the only project that I've ever done full coverage that uses blended threads. So yeah, okay, there you go, you can see that. So yeah, let me see what 500 stitches a day for a week we'll do on that one. Hopefully I'll make some decent progress. And the following week, the last week of May, I will be working on Death in the Garden. The artwork is by Megan Majewski, charted by UnconventionalXStitch. I had to remember which one. I'm at 1.51%. So I'm working on all those blues. I believe that this one is another one. So the page ends here. And I believe everything left in here is one color. I will have to double check that. So that will be that one. Now this one I started on the right. I started in the upper right corner instead of the upper left. I usually start on the upper left just out of habit because until Pattern Keeper came out, I worked everything from paper. And when you get paper charts, you know that they're organized in order, page, as we read, left to right, page 1, 2, 3, 4, then back into the next page, the next row. And so it just was typical that I would start with the first page, so I didn't get them all mixed up. But with Pattern Keeper, I can work anywhere I want. So I'm starting with that upper right corner, and then to be able to get to more of her and the more, I don't want to leave just her to the end. I'm going to probably come over here and do I'm going to call it page 2. So I'll do this first page and then the page next to it, and then I'll do the page under it, and then I'll come back up and I'll work so upper left to bottom right. And just that way I can start seeing more and more of her and different details and not just background. So that's the project that I will be working on 500 stitches a day for the final week of May for that. Oh, I'm so sorry, I just bumped you. And then on the weekends, I will continue to spin a wheel, and I've taken my projects for Macabre May and my 2 focus pieces out. I currently have 15 projects now that I've finished the sled. So the remaining 9 projects are now on a wheel. I spin that to see what I'll work on the weekends. Except I get to have a new start. So not this weekend, but possibly the following weekend. I will start something new. Now, okay, I'm back. So for whatever reason, all of a sudden, what I was saying and my lips were off. And I can't stand watching a video like that. So we're going to hope that the phone is going to work better this time. I was talking about I had finished a project, and so I get to start a new one. I think that's where I was. I may start it the last week of May. I may start it the 1st of June because that's a weekend. But I narrowed down what I wanted to start to 4 different projects. And these 4 projects are ones that are either new companies to me, new artists to me, or in some way something I've never stitched before, new designers. And I narrowed it down to those 4 and couldn't figure out which one I wanted to start. So I made a poll on my community tab on YouTube, and I let you guys vote, and quite a few people have voted already. But I thought I'd open it up because I know not everybody sees the community post. I don't know what it is with YouTube that even if you subscribe, you don't necessarily see it. So I'm going to show you each of those. You can do a couple of things. If you want to vote, you can go to my page and find the poll on the community tab, or you can just leave it in the comment below and I'll combine all the responses from the poll and the comments to just figure out which one that I'm going to start. The first one is by an artist or designer that I've never stitched anything by, and that's Ronnie Rowe. And I've watched a lot of his pieces being stitched, especially stitching jewels. She did a few of his. I'm not real into the monochrome pieces that he does. I think they're gorgeous. It just, I can't picture myself stitching those. But he had two, and I narrowed it down to this one. And it was on sale, so I had to buy it. This is Back in Time, and I love it. That house reminds me of a house that my friend had, and we used to hang out there all the time. And the car is just kind of fading into just fading away. So this one is the largest of the 4 pieces that I've narrowed it down to. This is a paper chart. I wish he has some of his pieces in PDF, but not all. This one's not. And this one here is I'm looking at my notes for size, 354 by 246. The model was stitched on an 18 count white Aida, and I happen to have an 18 count, so I stuck that in. So I got the fabric, that's no problem. The next one is Only the Lonely. This is charted by UnconventionalXStitch, which you know I have plenty of theirs. But I've never stitched anything by Adrienne Borda. So I decided that this could be one. Now this measures 300 by 200, so not very large. That one I could do. All right, the third one is Brothers, and I can't say the artist's name, but this is by Thread Geeks. I'll put the artist down in the description box. All of that white background that you see is stitched. I've removed that, I put it in Pattern Keeper, and I marked all that off. And that took me, the original design had 53,460 stitches. I eliminated 13,500 some stitches, bringing me down to just under 40,000 with 39,833. And then finally I had Swallows. This is a Bothy Threads kit. And I see a lot of people stitching Bothy threads. And so I bought a couple to try. I've put a piece of fabric from the sewing shop in on that one. And so those are my 4. So I've never stitched Bothy threads. I've never stitched a Ronnie Rowe. Currently in the poll so far, in first place is Only the Lonely with 45%, which is that tree. Back in Time comes in second with 30. Brothers is 15%, and Swallows is 11. So if you want to vote on these, you can list. I'm going to put a picture here if you want the numbers. So, 1 is Ronnie Rowe, 2 is, and you can see them. You can put in your comment 1, 2, 3, 4, whichever one you want. You can say birds, tree, title. I'll know what you mean. Okay, so this is not where you have to have a keyword for this. So let me know what you would like to see. I have one other purchase I almost forgot to show you, and that is Cross Stitch Gold. This is a bird collection. Yep. And I think you're probably going to see me in the same clothes, because if my phone continues to work, I'm going to do a flip through of this, but I will post it. I'll do that now, and then I'll post it in a few days. So that's everything I have. I'm really sorry for my being scattered, for my phone acting up. I hope that you're able to enjoy the video as it is. Okay, with that said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of May, and I will see you June 1st. Bye.